Guys, today is a rough day because we have a massive storm front coming through and I am against the clock because there's some big things I want to do before the storm arrives. I can see the rain in the mountains already, so I don't really want to get wet today, but I suspect I am going to. So you might not have a lot of talking from me today, which is fine, I think. What we're going to do, first things first, is fill up the compost bin again with a whole bunch of bags of leaves and goat manure. And then after that, I'm going to get into the fruit orchard, because what we need to do is create basins, half moon basins that are created on contour, so that we can start collecting all of this rain that's about to fall, so it can soak into the ground, so that when it comes to planting the fruit trees, it's nice and wet, soaking, and the plants can be happy. So probably not a lot of talking from me today. The wind is howling, so I'm probably gonna have to put the camera in the car and film out so that it doesn't keep blowing over and potentially breaking. But let's see how the day goes. I don't have much hope, but let's remain optimistic and let's see. Just check out these stormy clouds. It's so beautiful. If you don't know South Africa, this area is called the Klein Karoo, and it is a wild place. It is filled with so much natural beauty. And when the storms come through, the Karoo is known for its skies and its hills and its mountains and all of that, but mostly its skies, the night sky, the sunrises, the sunsets, and the storms when they roll in. And I think you can start to see it. But what am I doing behind me, so you can have some context as to the method behind my madness. So I'm sure you may or you may not have heard of the concept of swales. Swales are big ditches that are basically dug quite often by big machinery on the contour lines of a property. So that's basically how your property moves and slopes and all that. You would then change how that ditch then moves across your land. So when water runs down, it catches it, fills it up, and then it soaks it into the ground. And I've actually received this question quite a few times. Why am I not doing swales? The simple answer is the slope of this property is really steep. So you're going to need big swales. And for me personally, I don't want the swales taking up that much space. And I quite like the concept of having straight rows as in my fruit orchard. And you can't have straight rows. If you want to have swales, your rows are going to be like this, and they're going to be different. They're going to be all over the place. Some people love that, and that is completely up to you. Me personally, I have so much chaos in my life. I like some things to be structured, and I do like the idea of having beautiful rows for my fruit orchards. So an alternative to swales is to do half moons, and you do half moons on contour, meaning this little contraption that I have, and I'll show you, is just a little A-frame, and it's a meter long at the base, which then basically gives me a 2-meter basin around my trees, which is pretty big. Also remember, it's sloped, so if the basin is over here, the water is still going to be soaking all the way down over here. So the water soakage extends way beyond this underground, with the idea that the layers that I have, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, the top row is going to soak the water underground, which could feed the top of the roots of the trees of the next row. Because obviously the basin is on the bottom half of the trunk, meaning technically the top half of the roots of the tree don't get any water. But herein lies the method of my madness of having the layers where the top basins would soak the soil at an angle down, eventually reaching the next tree's roots up in the dry zone. And what you have is a measure level, I don't know, a leveler, and what you basically do is you put the one side on the trunk, or where the trunk would be. The other side you move around until you have a level bubble, and that is the top of your contour line. Then you turn it around until on the other side you also get it leveled, and that means you now have your 2 level points, and you have draw half moon and you fill it up. There you have your half moon on contour, meaning as it rains and the water goes down your property, it will fill up the basins based on the natural flow of the water on the land. So you don't need to actually scar the land, you don't need to alter anything, you're just adding basins. And what happens is, because of the angle, the basins, when they overflow, will fill up the next ones. So especially in summer, when you get a heavy rainfall, you might not fill up all your basins, and that's where the overflow concept comes in. So for me, it's a very, very, very awesome concept. Each half moon is going to be slightly different. They're not all going to be perfect in the same positions. One might be facing you, the other one slightly off, the one more, one this way, because they're all on contour, so they're going to slightly change. So that's as simple as that. I've got a heap of soil over there, got an A-frame, measuring out contours, filling it up with soil, and that's it. And then what's going to happen is the rain we're going to get soon is going to fill up the basins to the brim, and it's going to soak into the clay soil, meaning the clay soil is going to become nice and loose, nice and soft. So when I come and plant the fruit trees in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be easy to plant, easy to mix in leaves and other amendments and make the soil amazing. So let's keep making half moons all through the fruit orchard.
Let's sing this one down. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to I got this bottle with my dad. And then I took to hold this, and then I went down and
So some of you might know, some of you might not. If you've been here for a while, you'll definitely know. I had 2 back surgeries. It was meant to be 1, but turned out being 2. And I need to be really careful with my back. So my back is busy going into a slight spasm. This is not the best work for my back. Picking up gravel, wheelbarrows, picking up a wheelbarrow, emptying it out. There's so much pressure on my back. So I've done 1 row, which I'm happy with. I need to be honest and real with myself and not put myself back in hospital for 3 weeks. That's how long my back surgery took. And I was off the homestead for 2 months. So I don't want that happening again. So I'm listening to myself. I'm gonna stop today. I've done a row. I'm chuffed. And then subsequent weeks I can do more rows. Well, that's cool because now I can plant out at least the first row. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant, basin the next one. The next week come back, plant, basin. And then at least I can alternate, and then in a couple of weeks time this will all get done. I've luckily got the whole of autumn and winter, well what's left of autumn, and winter to plant this out, so I've still got time. But at least I've got a row done. Something done. Considering the weather and all of that, I think it's good going. So thank you for watching. I know it wasn't the most exhilarating episode, but at least we got something done. Noah's having an absolute blast. Thank you for joining, thank you for subscribing, and for those of you that are not yet members here or on Patreon, please consider doing that because I'm going to share a whole bunch of extra information out there. Thank you for all being awesome, and until next time, happy homesteading.